is where your red blood cells, instead of them being like a healthy circle shape, they're like a C shape. And if you do certain things, they'll get stuck together and cause you pain.
She's put the bed in the crash position. Next thing I know, I'm getting a central line in my neck. Was induced into a coma. They had to intubate me. It was just a mess.
Hey guys, I'm Tito.
My name's Dunstan.
My name's Lola.
Hi guys, I'm Isa too.
So my name's Manny. I'm a rapper. I'm 30 and some change. And yeah.
Do you remember the day you found out you had sickle cell?
Kind of. So normally, like, quite a lot of people know from birth, whereas I didn't find out till I was like 5 years old. And it's because I was born in Africa. So when I was born, pretty much no one knew what sickle cell was there. My mum just thought I was a baby crying for the sake of crying. And then we came here, and every time she would go out, I would get ill. But I actually was ill, but she didn't believe me until I think once she went out and left me with the neighbor, and I literally had a crisis and I was in pain. And the neighbor was like, I'm taking your daughter to the hospital. I don't know what's going on. And then we got there, and then the doctors were like, oh yeah, she has sickle cell. And I was like, wait, what?
I went in with my friends. I went to A&E and I was having really bad pains. And the doctor came in front of all my friends and he said, oh yeah, you're having a crisis. And that was the first time. I remember I associated the word with sickle cell, and I went home to Google what a crisis was. And I don't know, I felt like I went down a rabbit hole, like, okay. And yeah, everything made sense, but it just, I don't know. It was so confusing. It just made my life make sense from that point forward.
My parents both knew that they were carriers, so my mum was tested while I was still in the womb, so they knew from early. And I always say, like, it's a thing where they were able to prepare from the get-go. Because I was so young, I didn't really piece it all together, and it was when I got older that I started to realise, okay, this is because of something, like, it's not a normal occurrence for a child.
With your parents knowing before you were born, do you feel like it made much of a difference?
I feel like it made a difference for them in terms of they can research and know how to look after a child with sickle cell, but with me, not so much in the sense where there wasn't really that open communication.
For me, they didn't really get what was going on. And so as much as they tried to help, as much as they knew, they were still learning through me. And I feel like that's still the case because when you speak to doctors and nurses, they don't teach much about this at all. Like, it's really bad.
And apart from the antibiotics, there was nothing preventative. They didn't tell you how to prevent it. You only saw them when you were sick. Well, I only saw them when I was sick, and outpatients, obviously, for transfusions, but that was it.
Yeah, no, I think I was lucky to have one doctor who actually cared. So it was like, they were kind of, it sounds
so
crazy.
deep.
Sounds crazy to say. But yeah, no, like, that doctor was really like, yeah, you can do what everyone else can, but you have to do it in balance. And it was like, that was the first time someone said, yeah, you have sickle cell, but like, you can still try and do the things that you need to do, but you just have to remember that you have sickle cell, which is hard to tell when you're like young. You're like, what is my limit? You know, as I grow older, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, I know if I do X, Y, Z, or my body feels a type of way, I might get a crisis. But then life is so unpredictable, it's so hard to predict a crisis in general.
I remember, because again, I know how to manage my triggers. I can't go outside when it's cold to play. So I would just ask a friend to stay indoors with me over lunch. And I asked this girl, I was like, oh, stay inside with me, let's play. And she was like, why? And I was like, oh, because I have sickle cell. She was like, what's that? And I was like, I don't know. And I was 10 then. And my teacher overheard me, and she basically gave me like the first proper explanation I've ever heard. So she was like, oh, it's where your red blood cells, instead of them being like a healthy circle shape, they're like a C shape. And if you do certain things, they'll get stuck together and cause you pain. And that she was like, yeah, so you can't be cold, you can't like do too much, you have to use your medicine X, Y, and Z. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then from there, I then went to go do my Google searches and found information I didn't want to find, life expectancy and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is a bit too much.
I remember I was like 10 years old at the time, and that's when everything kind of steps up a notch because you start to realize the disparity between you and your friends and your peers. It's hard to try and make other people understand that, but for me, those definitely growing up were the toughest times because you see everybody else being normal and you just want to get involved and you just want to do the stuff that your peers are doing, but you can't.
I had a conversation with my mum, like, I don't understand, like, what's going on? And then she was like, oh no, you're just gonna go through puberty late. And I'm like, okay, but why? Please, I don't understand why all my friends like look like this and I'm literally just there, one very small person.
One of the worst crises I've ever had because first of all, it was in my jaw as well. So there was massive swelling, my face swelled up, my whole body was in pain. I was in America. So I had to like tell my uncle, because I was staying with my uncle. We went off to children's ward and then I had to get an incision in my mouth. They treated me with like all sorts of different, because medication's the same but different over there. So I don't know, I'm not really sure, I can't remember. It's one of those memories that's like, that just come up because we've been talking about adolescence. But that one was so, I think it affected me more mentally because it was like, wow, I just wanted to be like what I've seen on TV. I mean, how hard is like Snow Angel? No one really thinks twice. Like, yeah, it's cold. Okay, I'll warm up later. But then now it's like, it's become this thing where if I'm cold, am I going to get in pain again like that? Am I going to suffer like that again? And then you kind of become scared of things like, oh, it's snowing. I need to get inside because blah, blah, blah. And then for a long time that did affect me. It's like, luckily it doesn't snow that much here. And like when everyone's like, oh, I want it to snow, I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm okay. After what I've experienced in America. So yeah, that's one vivid memory that just came to me since we've been speaking about adolescence.
That is crazy that you have PTSD from snow.
It's crazy.
That's mad.
It's crazy.
Like, and this is what I'm saying about normalizing trauma. I think for me, stand out, 2008, without a shadow of a doubt, nearly died. Shout out Linda Sawyer. She is the sickle cell specialist nurse that saved my life, literally. It was like probably 0, maybe -1 outside, but I was sweating like anything. And so ambulance came, and I remember it was freezing outside. I had a vest on. They're like, yeah, we're gonna take this off. I was like, no, I have sickle cell, we're not doing that. Like, it's very cold outside. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna have to because your temperature's through the roof. And went to the hospital, did all of that. So I was bare chest outside for like 30 seconds, but sickle cell nurse was there. She came to see me. She's looking at me, she's like, nah, you don't look right. Bearing in mind, this is somebody at the time I've known like my whole life. And she's like, no, you don't look right. Something's not right. And then literally in the blink of an eye, she's put the bed in the crash position. Next thing I know, I'm getting a central line in my neck. Emergency blood transfusion, was induced into a coma. And yeah, I had pneumonia, but my lungs actually stopped working. And they had to intubate me. It was just a mess. And I remember, I think I lost about 2 stone in hospital in the space of a week. And when I came to, I kept on asking everybody to take a picture of me because I wanted to see what I looked like. But like my mum was briefing everyone before they came in. Like, he's gonna ask you to take a picture. Say no. But yeah, that was the stick out memory for me. It was a very scary time.
How has sickle cell impacted the way you live?
Oh, how hasn't it? Would be a better question.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Sickle cell determines the underwear that I wear. It determines the socks that I wear. Because people are probably gonna be like, what's he talking about, the socks? So, see the elastic in your socks? If that's too tight on your skin and you have sickle cell, it can put you into hospital. I've been there many a time, I promise you.
I remember one story I was saying, I was like, yeah, when I had a crisis, I felt really guilty as a kid, like going in and then being in hospital because I knew my mum's gonna have to take time off of work. I knew she's not going to go home and like do what she needs to do because she's going to try and sleep over or whatever with me. And I felt so guilty. And then my therapist was like, you know, it's okay to be sick. And I was like, yeah, but it's different. Like cold and stuff, people can manage at home, but like sickle cell, I have to be hooked up to stuff. Doing therapy has allowed me to be like, it's okay to be sick sometimes.
It's a lot for us to unpack mentally, and this is why, for me, I'm so active in my godson's life, and probably to the point of annoyance, because so he's 14, he's got sickle cell as well, and I'm always talking to him about everything, like because I know how I would have benefited from that when I was younger, and there's so many awkward conversations with boys. I know obviously women, you have awkward conversations as well when it comes to like your menstrual cycle and then the delay of it and then the regularity and stuff. For guys, it's priapism. Priapism is, in short, a crisis in your penis, and so it's the most awkward conversation with somebody who you don't have a relationship with, because your relationship is just on paper. You don't know me, you just know me medically, do you know what I mean? And so yeah, I make sure I have those kind of conversations with my godson. And it's always gonna be awkward, but it's just less awkward than it would be with like a complete stranger. So yeah.
What do you wish people understood about sickle cell?
Wow. That's probably the hardest question so far.
I feel the first thing that comes to mind for me is that sickle cell is not, it's not performative. So, you know, like when you associate a really chronic, like what you associate with chronic illnesses is maybe like how you look and maybe losing your hair, blood, like it's meant to be performative. But with sickle cell, it's it's an invisible illness. And you can be okay today, I can be in A&E tomorrow. And I feel that's the first thing I feel people understand, that just because I look okay doesn't mean I'm feeling okay and that I am okay.
There's like a mismatch when it comes to like certain benefits that we get, or just different resources that we have access to or don't have access to. I just feel like it needs to be taken seriously, like across the board. I feel like personally, it should be up there with people's like thoughts. Like for example, with cancer, we get a lot of the same treatment, yet people will think cancer is like
go to the same wards.
Exactly, same medication, same everything, and it's still like, oh, cancer patients deserve free medicine, free this, free that, whereas you have to fend for yourselves, kind of thing. So.
And it's lifelong.
Exactly.
We had a clubhouse room that we were holding one time, and morphine is something that they give to gunshot victims, right? And post-op, it's a painkiller that they give. And I always used to say that so that people get an understanding of, you know, the kind of pain that we're dealing with. So it's like, raw, somebody's been shot, they give you the same painkillers, yes. Yeah. And we had in one of our rooms somebody with sickle cell who had been shot before in the head. And so I had a whole heap of questions for this guy. And so I was like, what's worse? And he's like, sickle cell by far. This guy got shot in the head and he was walking around A&E, and American guy. And he said, yeah, when I got shot, like I was cool, like I was, you know, I was chilling, like and I'm listening to this guy and I'm like, what? Like, bro, like gunshots. He's like, yeah, it was light. Like, and he was like, he's been shot twice. He was like, he'd pick that over a crisis every time.
Even with like how we were saying religion, so because I'm Muslim and you won't know until you look at my file, and then so like the nurse will come and say, this is why you have to pray, like you can't be taking all these drugs, they're trying to kill you. And then she'll be like, oh, by the grace of God, in Jesus' name, you're well. And I'm like, okay, alhamdulillah, like thank you. And then they're like, oh, see, you're Muslim, this is why you need to come to Christianity. Maybe if you were like a Christian, you wouldn't be feeling the way you're. I said, astaghfirullah, leave me alone. How dare you tell me my religion that I've been practicing since I was born is wrong. Like telling me I have sickle cell because I'm a Muslim and I decided to be a Muslim. So I have sickle cell because of that. I would fight.
I've had black nurses tell me, like, it's because do you pray enough? Are you sure you pray enough?
Not to
because if you pray, you'll be able to walk, you know? You speak the life into your situation, into your legs. I said, I should speak it. I said, okay, we should walk. I said, it's not working, so can you bring the commode?
Does living with sickle cell become easier?
That's like a trick question. I'm going to say no for now, and obviously we'll circle the room, but the conversation hasn't changed. I'm still 20 years down the line seeing petitions. Like, I'm sure everyone saw the petition for free medicine for...
Medication, yeah.
That petition is about 15 years old.
Yeah.
It happens every year. It's fun. Like, it's like, oh, okay, it's that time of year again. Getting petitions out, guys. Like, do you know what I mean? It's trying and testing. It's unfortunate because if I'm a heroin addict and I need to be weaned off heroin, that's free.
Yeah, of course.
But if I'm born with sickle cell, a condition that I have no say in and I have to live with for my entire life, I have to pay for my medicine. Go figure. How important is sickle cell awareness?
The more people who know about sickle cell, more attention is brought to it, more resources are directed towards it, more people are researching into it and funds and etc. And just a big snowball effect. So I feel like awareness is definitely the first step. Okay, so what advice would you give to the younger generation who have sickle cell?
I will go ahead and answer that one just because of my godson. So I just tell him, I explain to him that he has to have a relationship with pain. I don't like the fact that he does, but he has to have that relationship with pain. And so I kind of prepare him for that. And he needs to understand that he's gonna have intense pain and he's gonna have mild pain, but he needs to know the difference and he has to develop that relationship with pain. But to be vocal as well and never be afraid to tell people that you know what's wrong with you. Because people with sickle cell especially, we have this thing of not speaking up. Not me, myself, I'm talking, but we have this thing of, oh, the doctor must know. The doctor doesn't know. 9 times out of 10, the doctor doesn't know. So I would say to, younger generation, you have to have that relationship with pain, be vocal, and learn your body. That sounds crazy, but it took me 26 years to learn my body and understand when I have my peaks, when I have my troughs, when I can do certain things, when I can't. It took me 26 years to do that.
Having a child with sickle cell would weigh on any relationship and any marriage, and it's only because we're in the UK, we have NHS, but in countries where there's no NHS, you still have to pay medical bills. Their medical bills, like, it's a lot on your relationship.
It's not happening. Like, we both have the trait. I understand, like, there's a chance that the child won't have sickle cell. I'm not putting my child through that. There's, like, it's gonna hurt me, but we'll be friends. Like, I can't do it. I cannot do that to my child.
I think the experience here is key because us knowing and the difference with somebody with trait not knowing, the reality of having to deal with that is very intense.
If you willingly know that you both have the trait and you still go ahead with that decision and your child does have sickle cell, you then have to think of the repercussions because they will look at you like, why?
Imagine willingly putting your child through that and then the child's asking you why.
I'd hate that parent, to be honest. If my mum said to me, oh, because I loved your dad, I'd be like, but what did you love about this guy? Like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Just.
There was so many other options, but you chose him.
Like,
the one, like, you couldn't find someone that was AA. Like, I don't understand.
This is it. Like, he's not even that funny in that. Like, whoa. You know what I mean?
If I was AS and my partner was AS, for me, it will be a thing, because love it's a factor. If you love someone, if you fall in for them, then you're going to make some stupid decisions sometimes. But I've always said, even with me as SS, and if I meet someone who's AS, there's no way I'm having a child with you unless it's IVF. Other than that, I feel like it's grossly irresponsible. A discussion like this has been really like freeing almost. I feel like it's really rare to speak to people like this who actually understand what you go through. We're able to laugh, cry about everything, even things which aren't funny, but to us it's just like, we know what we've been through kind of thing. I feel like it's really like relieving. There's like a sense of like support that you're like, yeah, it's not just you, like we're all in this together kind of thing. And I feel like in our community it's kind of rare because sickle cell is almost a taboo, like you don't talk about it. Like even if you have it, even if you know someone with it, like it's hush hush kind of thing. So I feel like this has been really encouraging, really motivating for me. Yeah, and I'm happy that I've been able to just discuss this with you guys.